पहले तो जो वेस्टर्न था वो अच्छा था, अभी दैट आई फील इज चेंजिंग कि नहीं ठीक है, इंडियन है तो भी अच्छा हो सकता है. एंड आई फील लाइक दैट्स गोना चेंज सो हार्ड वन डे कि इंडियन है इसलिए अच्छा है. ग्रेट प्रोडक्ट बीट्स ग्रेट सर्विस. योर कस्टमर सर्विस, योर डिलीवरी, none of it matters. People will line up for hours outside Madras Cafe to sit for those 15-20 minutes in a not the most fanciest restaurant, sitting next to a stranger to eat that idli, dosa, whatever you like.
Tell me more about how the Souled Store happened.
You know, whenever I go to some of these panels, they ask like, how do you start? And I hate it because someone says, I saw this big problem and I used to work in McKinsey and that, and I thought like, I'll solve this. And I'm like, yeah, I just hated my job and I was selfish. I had 1.75 lakh in the bank. All that's everything. The only thing you could start is a t-shirt company.
इंडिया में ना फैशन ब्रांड बनाना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. शायद ही कोई ब्रांड है जो बहुत टाइम तक रेलेवेंट रहती है और उसके बाद वो क्रैक करके प्रॉफिटेबल भी होती है फैशन स्पेस में. तो इसीलिए आज का एपिसोड पूरा ना फैशन में कैसे इंडिया ब्रांड बना पाए उसके बारे में है, विद द को फाउंडर ऑफ द सोल्ड स्टोर वेदांग पटेल. आज के एपिसोड में हमने बात करी कि उन्होंने कैसे स्टार्ट किया, कितने सारे उनको फेलियर्स देखने पड़े, कितनी जगह वो डाउन चले गए, कितनी बार उनकी लाइफ में ऐसा मोमेंट आया कि जहाँ पर उनको यही नहीं पता था कि कल वापस ये ब्रांड चल पाएगी कि नहीं चल पाएगी. और उसके बाद इतने स्ट्रगल्स के बाद उन्होंने आज इंडिया की वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट फैशन ब्रांड्स बना दी है. तो ये कैसे हुआ, इन सब के बारे में हमने बात करी है सोल्ड स्टोर से. उन्होंने उनकी जर्नी को लेके सब हमें बताया कि कैसे उन्होंने हर पॉइंट पे क्रैक किया. एंड सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट कि उन्होंने बांद्रा में बिलबोर्ड लेने की जगह बांद्रा में अपना खुद का स्टोर लिया, क्योंकि उस पे उनको ज़्यादा पैसे बनते हैं रैदर देन खर्चा करने की जगह बिलबोर्ड पे. बिफोर यू स्टार्ट द शो, राज शमानी क्लिप्स और राज शमानी शॉर्ट चैनल को जाके सब्सक्राइब कर लो, क्योंकि वहाँ पर हम इस बड़े एपिसोड की छोटी छोटी क्लिप्स डालते हैं ताकि कम समय में आपको बहुत ही नॉलेजेबल इंसाइटफुल बिजनेस के बारे में पता चलते जाए, जिससे आप एक बेहतर लीडर बन सकें. एन्जॉय द शो. Tell me more about how the Souled Store happened.
I think I was at this juncture, and I was in finance, and I just got a promotion. Okay, they really liked me. They want to keep me. I was an engineer who did finance, okay, for 2 years. First guy there to get double promoted. I hated it though. Every Sunday, this is a typical feeling which I think a lot of people have, maybe for school, college also. Every Sunday, you're just not looking forward to the Monday and the 5 days that go with it. And I was like, this is a shit way to spend the rest of my life. And for me, then when I just thought, okay, what do I like? I was a pop culture nerd. More then than now. I think the quality has gone down now.
Okay.
But anything to do with like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Harry Potter. My dog's name is Hobbit even too. So I was like, okay, there's something I want to do. And I have given the investors a lot of math around my thought process, but honestly, there was none. I had 1.75 lakh in the bank. All that's everything. And the only thing you could start is a t-shirt company. In my head, of all the great ideas, that the only thing I could start is like, and my co-founders were also like on a similar boat. And the three of us just put in 5.25 lakh. A fourth guy joined about a year later, and we just started. We got a cupboard of t-shirts. There's no great story to this. We just got a cupboard of t-shirts, printed them with what we thought was funny, and started. And that 5 lakh is all the money we put in till date.
Nice. And then it just keep reinvesting.
Yeah, that one cupboard became 2, became 4, became 8. Before we got our first investment, we were already a 30 crore company, profitable online company selling clothes. Because I think
Which year was that?
2013 to 18.
Okay.
18 is when we got our first investment. So, you know, whenever I go to some of these panels, they ask like, how do you start? And I hate it because someone says, I saw this big problem and I used to work in McKinsey and that, and I thought like, I'll solve this. And the other person was like some, higher calling. And I'm like, yeah, I just hated my job and I was selfish.
That's fair. As long as it lasted and lasted good. So it's fair. It's a fair way to start. Okay. So in the beginning, you started with let's say, printing cool t-shirts because you were a pop culture nerd, whatever was happening and was popular, you would put out something, you found it funny, sarcastic, or like, hey, people want to own this and go ahead, right? I remember there was Bewakoof as well at the same time.
IITians, super guys.
So I didn't know that. Like when I was in college, 2013, 14, my college was obsessed with Bewakoof a lot.
Yeah.
Like I think Souled Store was not that big back then, right? 2013, 14, like you just said.
We just started then. I was 23.
तो उनका एक t-shirt आता था, तू तेरा देख.
Yeah.
213 देख type.
Yeah, I remember that. Everyone used to wear it.
Exactly.
And Ghanta engineer.
Ghanta, exactly. So this used to be like almost everyone in the college wearing that. I was in a management college and people wearing Ghanta engineering. I was like, okay. So I saw that, and then what I noticed was every random street shop would also have something like that. Like the similar kind of t-shirts, the similar kind of quotes, the similar kind of sarcasm. And then the proportion, how, let's say, if out of 10 people, 6 were wearing Bewakoof, it went to 2, it went to 1, and then nowhere.
Yeah.
Right? So doesn't that happen with your business as well? Because let's say your moat in the beginning was just becoming cool option for people to wear stuff. And then everybody could print it, everybody could do it. How are you still so relevant?
Firstly, that's a very good question. Like usually investors ask this shit. See, relevancy is so baked into our business today because we are pop culture. It's defined that we have to be relevant.
Yeah.
So if you have a latest TV show, movie, we'd be the people to have that license.
Yeah, that I've seen that.
Yeah. So before we had to go beg for the licenses, now it's luckily comes to us easily. We are the one-stop solution for that. So relevancy is not as much of a problem. I think the only thing that keeps me awake at night is how do you keep this relevancy long lasting? How does the coolness factor keep going on? Because you don't want to be you want to be like Cream Center, Shiv Sagar or something, like Shiv Sagar.
Yeah.
You want to just be good, relevant throughout the times, years and decades.
Yeah.
Maybe centuries, who knows, one day. That is something that you have to design for. And this, tangents into another part is that it takes time. I think when you go fast is when the relevancy breaks. To keep relevancy, you have to build memory in a consumer's mind. But people don't have the patience. And I think that's a big ecosystem problem where investors don't have the patience and they would just be like, yaar, 4 saal mein brand banao. Nahi banta.
There are too many things. Let's go one by one on that. The first is I still couldn't get it. Like, how do you be relevant and long lasting in a clothing business which stands for I want to be cooler and every time I'll be cool? Because there are I think I tell you in my head there are 3 types of clothing brands, and maybe there are 10 more you would know better, but I'll tell you from a layman consumer point of view. One is a brand which doesn't sell clothes, it sells status. Okay, so something like, let's say, an LV or a Gucci or Burberry, they would सालों से एक ही design है. For years there have been one design, one logo.
Yeah, the logo sells.
The logo sells, the color sells, right? That's a status driven thing. And in fact, I would still say Levi's also comes in somewhere in that part as well, at least as far as the jeans is concerned, right? So that they sell status. They sell one part. There is a second kind of brand. They sell designs. Okay, so something like Souled Store.
Correct.
Next season, if I get cool stuff from you, I'll buy it. If next there's no cool stuff, I won't buy it.
Sure.
Okay, that's it's very design driven, right? And third is again a place or a loyalty driven. So let's say something like Zara. Like I would still say Zara, Souled Store kind of come hand in hand, but still Zara is more like H&M, Zara. There's like one parent company which is famous. I go there with a mindset that, hey, I want to buy something for party. Now, I don't care if they have the good collection or the bad collection.
Use case driven.
What?
It's use case driven, you're saying.
It's use case driven, right? It's just occasion driven, and that the one place to go to, usually lifestyle, Zara, or I don't know, H&M. This is the third kind of brand which usually would people go for. Right? So I've divided in my head, there are 3 types.
Yeah.
Because Zara, I don't care the brand is anyway not visible. You don't know whether this is Zara or no. The second is you don't care about designs as well, because Zara sometimes come with quirky designs, sometimes it's basic as hell. So you're not dependent on designs. You're just like, hey, I want something new, I'll go there and get it.
Sure.
It's just the trust on the place or
absolutely,
or for a use case, if that's the thing. So I think these are the three kind of brands which in my head, because Zara is not cool, Souled Store is cool, and
I don't know.
No, I'm just breaking in my head. Like one is status, one is cool, one is I just want
bread and butter.
Like that's the occasion wise. I just want to go out.
Got it. I think I'm going to flip it and say there are only those two then. I'll tell you why the second and third are more or less the same. First is the status one. You buy the logo and then it's you telling the world, I can afford this. And that is, society is a status game to some extent. The second is you go for the designs. And because you start liking the designs regularly, you build it into the bread and butter, which is the third. If I need party wear or if I need casual wear, I'll go to Zara or the Souled Store. So the second builds into the third, but that's a time thing. I think Zara came with a lot of reputation already, but just imagine how it would have happened in his heydays. It was selling great designs of party wear, which was like runway stuff. Forget the story of Zara, but it just sold good designs of party wear.
Even in India, that's how they started.
Yeah, but there was a lot of reputation and baggage of what comes from the West, and we love what comes from the West. So people went there and then they started liking the designs, and then they made it, the no-brainer option in the head. I think the way we are doing it is also the same. First, you start with the designs. You say that I like these designs. Oh, they have designs. Then year on year, they have good designs, and then you become a habit. And that's what I mean by you actually become brand. When you become the no-brainer option, it's in the memory. It's just like,
so how long do you feel a customer takes from going from, hey, I like their designs, to now this is a habit? Is there a year? I
think it'll be very different for different industries.
For fashion, for your industry, what do you think? Like, how many times do I need to buy from you in order for you to decide that, hey, now I know that Raj will come to us?
I think that's twice a year is minimum. If you buy twice a year, for about 2-3 years, you made it a habit. Because then there's always something in your wardrobe. And that's the only thing there's only one metric actually right now that the company is supposed to look at, and it's retention. But not retention at all costs, just retention. And I think I have a saying that if you have great product, your customer service, your delivery, none of it matters. People will line up for hours outside Madras Cafe to sit for those 15-20 minutes in a not the most fanciest restaurant, sitting next to a stranger to eat that idli, dosa, whatever you like. Great product beats great service. So your retention comes from great product. But if you give great service, don't have a good product, you're not going to have retention.
Interesting take. A lot of times people say that, hey, great service, great this, great this,
I disagree.
Product has to be good.
Yeah, I think for Amazon, the service is the product. So that's a very different
model, because they don't have any product.
Correct. But for most companies like ours, like the product is the product. Like Zara also is, I know they have great stores, but you have to wait in line. Sometimes you don't get sizes. People aren't that helpful. Like if you go to, let's say, a Manyavar, like the salesman there would actually tell you, you know what, blue would look good on you. Why don't you try this? This is latest in trend. No one's doing that at Zara. It's just kept there, pick it up, be an adult, go try it on, which is great product. Actually, the service is average. That's, I think, Manyavar has great products too. I'm just saying, product comes first. Service is a good add-on. That's the way I think we look at it.
Okay. Now tell me, how do you build a great product in fashion? Let's say, isn't it, so when you're saying that the product is the only thing that matters, don't you think that if, let's say, he wants to start a fashion company tomorrow, can he not build something as good quality as yours?
I think
in fashion it's easy. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, it's
at
not.
Least
it's not when you get at scale.
So, like from the quality point of view, explain us the mechanics. Because if you look at, there are at least at least like 1,000 reels every day popping on my Instagram saying, start a t-shirt company, take this printer, start a print company, start this, start that, fashion label here. And US Met has become a thing that fashion is almost every day, right?
Yeah.
हर कोई हर चीज बनाने लग गया है. T-shirt and shirt तो It has become like anybody can start
commoditized.
there. It's a commoditized. Like it's like sanitizers in pandemic that everybody can do it. And then you see companies like yours, you have been successful for a while. And in fact, I was looking at India for a very long time. We have our own D2C companies. I don't think we have a lot of fashion D2C companies which are doing
it's a very hard model. It's very hard to be, because it's commoditized in India. It's very hard. I think so many parts to that. One is, firstly, I'm going to start with saying I don't even look at us as fashion because I know zero about fashion. I was a nerd who just started a t-shirt company. I hate shopping. Yesterday was the first time I entered the mall with my team to say, okay, let's see what else everyone is doing. And I hate it. They could see it on my face. I just stood bored. I think I just want to give that out as a kid. And that's something what our strength is, because at the end of the day, I'm like, आम आदमी को ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा है आपका जो intricate design है ये वो, or this insane material which you're using. I think make a good material, but what a lot of these industry people think is really good and cool and all, the consumer doesn't care. And what they think is not worth caring about, like, hey, a little thread is coming out, the consumer really cares. So concentrate on what people want, you know. The second thing you had said is, it's very easy to start this. There's no more to it, you know. Absolutely true. That's how I got into it. It's not easy to be successful. I know it's not easy to have good quality out here. It's very hard. The entire industry is still quite archaic. People don't really care about quality as much. You will get something which is as good as Fashion Street. But if you really want to have good, consistent quality across, oh man, we do more QC than Zara does. And it's still so hard. You know, we still find sometimes errors. And since I'm not a fashion guy, I actually concentrate on that kind of stuff. Like, why is this t-shirt not exactly the same size as the other 1,000? Why? You know, why did the QC miss it? Isn't he or she measuring? And that's actually the hard part. I think the second hard part is to keep your own biases away. Since I, again, don't care about it. If it's green or if it's blue, you know what? Let the data speak. What worked last time for Batman? Was it green or blue? Did we try a green? Will it work better than a blue? And everything is data driven. Our whole design team is data driven. They work right under me, who knows nothing. I can't even draw a line with a ruler. But the data, and now all of them are. In fact, today the culture is so strong. If I say, no, I think we should do this on red, they'll be like, the data is blue. Is Vedang sick? You know, like what happened to him today? So it is much harder than you think. And
it's all data.
All data. It's all run on data. Starts with intuition. You extrapolate on success, which is data.
Of course.
How we started a store was also very you know.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me first कि कैसे store started.
ये 2019 में था, and we realized that all our marketing is on Facebook, Instagram, etc. And I'm like, यार, if Mark Zuckerberg changes his mind one day, we are done. So I told my co-founder Aditya, I'm like, you know what, let's look for billboards. And they're like, where's a good billboard? Bandra. We're looking at billboards and the costs were crazy. And then we realized the cost of a rent of a store, it's about 2-3x more. But you can start selling. You get customer feedback. We thought it'd be a complete loss maker. We started it. It did insanely well. Usually people recover their capex in 2 years. We did in 3 months.
Okay. Let's make it easy for people to understand.
Okay. So
an average billboard in Bandra cost how much?
I think 1.5 lakh rupees.
Per month?
Yeah.
Abhi bhi?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know now.
So 1.5 lakh per month?
See, look, there are 10 lakh and 30 lakh billboards also, okay? Like the best. But I'm talking about, like, as you said, average.
Okay, so average billboard in Bandra is 1.5 lakh.
Yeah.
Okay, to 3 lakhs. Let's just say 1 to 3 lakhs. And then an average cost of a store. How big is the store?
We wanted a 600 square feet store. Okay. And we have it right on Linking Road. The cost of that was, I think the rent was about 4 lakh then. So this was like, okay, this is a no-brainer. You know, kuch to revenue banega. We just started it.
So 4 lakhs, the capex is capital expenditure कि तुमने वो store बनाने के लिए खर्चा कितना किया?
Yeah, correct.
तो कितना खर्चा किया store बनाने के लिए?
I think about 20, that now it's about a little more. Back then,
back then, like frugal. When you started,
I think about 20 lakhs.
Okay, so 20 lakhs लगा दिया और 20 lakhs usually बाहर निकलने में लोगों को 2 से 3 साल लगते हैं.
Correct.
Right? आपको कितना time है?
Because the store builds up, revenue builds up. You don't usually people are not profitable only till the third 6 month. थोड़ा
time लगता है.
Yeah. We did it in 3 months.
Capex was out in 3 months.
Yeah.
Where this incoming floods were in, like customers इतने flood कहाँ से हो रहे थे? Because Lincoln Road पे थे already इसलिए कि Souled Store का नाम already था इसलिए.
नहीं, I think the first thing. Lincoln, उस time तो नाम उतना नहीं था. I think people just saw and we have an Iron Man statue there and they're like ये नया है, ये देख लेते हैं. So people used to walk in and like, college crowd. Bandra में तो full RTG, from 18 to 32 is where it's all there on Lincoln Road. And people walked in and I think here is where the product wins. We have a very good price, quality and design that it just becomes a no-brainer for that crowd to pick up. And that something to you'll walk out with. Let's assume, Raj, you do like nothing there. But you'll see a Papa t-shirt or a Harry Potter t-shirt and you'll think of your friend and you'll be like, this will be really good for that person and you'll pick it up. And it's high conversion. And something, I didn't know why our stores did well till the 10th store. I was also trying to be like, nah, algorithms of inventory management is really good. It sure maybe. And our this is good and our service is good and all. And I used to tell all that to everyone. This is the reason we do well. Then I started telling people, what, I actually don't know why we do well. And then I realized that it's just the most simplest answer. Create the product market fit, which is the investor way of saying it, is good. The good product, basically.
So why can't other people do the same thing, is a question.
I think they can. They're just not patient enough. I think the thing is, most people can do what most people do. We are the same species, more or less. Sure, there's some different capabilities, but rocket science also seems complicated, but it's because you don't do it. And that person's just done it for 20 years. Ever since they're 16, they've been, doing math and physics and stuff like that. You just have to do it.
So you feel India fashion brands can be built, or like clothing brands?
Absolutely, yeah. I think
now it's not. Don't you feel like it's super cluttered?
Everything is cluttered in India.
Fashion specifically a lot. Like I was reading, like consumer brands may, at least in the organized market, I don't know about the unorganized market, 45 to 50% market is fashion and accessories.
Yeah.
Considering every consumer good in this country.
Yeah. Also, that's the opportunity. You just have to do it better. See, even if you start Lexi pen or whatever, right? There's always competition. You just have to build a pen that's better than people and at a good price point, and people love it. That's, I think, what we do well.
So tell me, what do you understand about Indian consumers? Indian consumers different kaise hain dusre consumers se?
Very hard to say different kaise hai, but I can definitely tell you a few things which I feel about the Indian consumer.
Okay.
Let me tell you some things which are changing. पहले तो जो वेस्टर्न था वो अच्छा था. अभी that I feel is changing. कि नहीं ठीक है, इंडियन है तो भी अच्छा हो सकता है. एंड आई फील लाइक दैट्स गोइंग टू चेंज सो हार्ड वन डे कि इंडियन है इसलिए अच्छा है. सो फ्रॉम पीपल सेइंग ऑल इम्पोर्टेड गुड्स आर गुड टू इंडियन गुड्स कैन ऑल्सो बी गुड टू इंडियन गुड्स आर गुड. And I'm loving that wave which is changing. It's amazing. Some people have already reached there, some people have not. And all their Western wear, and especially in apparel and fashions, all used to be made in India. Now it's made in India, China, Vietnam, Bangladesh. But same people who make for Zara, Levi's, etc., all here in India.
Yeah.
So it's possible. I don't think we can yet get the same quality. We don't have to pay royalty abroad to other people, and we can just do it as an Indian brand. That's what I really love about the changing Indian consumer. The Indian consumer is also becoming someone who spends a lot more. And that's...
There's always a battle that in India, there's not high-paying customers.
Yeah.
And specifically the cohort of the audience is just under 40 crores, 50 crores. That there are only 40, 50 crore people who can actually pay.
That's true.
There's the rest 100 crore cannot pay.
Yeah.
And out of these 40, 50 crores, then everybody's banking on, there are thousands and tens and thousands of brands just banking on this cohort. And in this cohort also, let's say a 2 to 4 crore would be ultra premium. So you keep them out because they're not the ones who are buying from you, they're buying from abroad. And then out of 36 crores, there are people say that around 6 to 8 crores don't care. They're like our parents and people, they have money, but they don't care. So that's another gone. So you end up with only 25 crore people.
Correct.
So once you have only 25 crore people, what do you, like, can there be thousands of businesses built with them? Because the capacity out of 150 crore, सिर्फ 25 करोड़ की पे करने की.
Okay, super. Firstly, 25 crore people is a population more than most countries. So it's yet a lot of people. One of the strongest dividends we have is the janta. Even though you're right, you cut out, still a lot, you know. So I don't think that's a small number. But you're right. What has changed is that, okay, when your dad was 27, if you ask him how often did you go out to eat, that number would have been once in 2 weeks. We went on a Sunday, full family went out and it was great. Now, if I ask you how often do you eat outside food, your answer would be 3-4 times a week maybe.
Yeah.
So look at the way you have decided to just spend more. And I think that's one very big change that has just come. And you know, none of these changes happen over year and year and year. And I think that's a very myopic view. Take like a 10 years change. You know, see where it's come from A to B. Now go from B to C, you'll see it even further. People are being more discretionary with their spends. And even though there may have been lesser money, like the savings have gone down slightly more and the spending has gone up. I think this is sometimes good for the economy, sometimes not good.
40% savings have gone down.
Yeah, but that just rolls the economy further and further. In fact, what happens when people start getting fired, let's say from all these companies, then that's where they start to save. And when they start to save, let's assume people won't buy Souled Store clothes because they're saving. And because they don't buy Souled Store clothes, then Souled Store doesn't grow as much. So then we don't hire as many people. So that's actually how the negative cycle starts. But if everyone's spending, great. Economy will churn. More people are needed. You start hiring more people. I think this is just basic capitalism 101.
So, okay, so you feel 25 crore are enough people to do that, and the bigger changes.
A growing number, right? Like
every day. It's in 5 years the middle class is gonna get 5 times of where we are today. So it's definitely the number is growing.
It's a growing middle class for sure. So I'm very excited about that aspect, and that's why you have to keep a product which I really want to make. Like I like where the product is. It's available to the janta, but it's not so cheap that it removes value. It's aspirational. A perfect zone to be.
Okay, so tell me, how do you win in a competitive business like this? How do you win trust of people? So what I mean by this is, let's say I launch a t-shirt brand tomorrow and you launch a t-shirt brand tomorrow. Cool chal raha hoga abhi, maan lo, for example, entrepreneurship is cool. So you would bring entrepreneurship series, I would bring entrepreneurship series. Both will come in the market. Let's say हम दोनों की एक t-shirt है same भी है, because कुछ same ही लिखा हुआ है, सब same है, right? And then you run an ad, I run an ad as well. How do you win, or how do a new player can win? Let's say you to chalo can win because you've been for years.
Yeah.
Right? There are 2 new players. How do one wins and one doesn't?
So
what can they do to build that trust? Because t-shirt same है, अच्छी quality दे दी, अच्छा product दे दिया, मैं अब brand ऐसी कैसे बनाऊँ कि लोग मेरे पास आ रहे हैं?
Love it. I love this question because you've gone on to branding. यही तो अभी पूरा fight है. लोग को लगता है कि ब्रांडिंग इज ऑल अबाउट गेटिंग अ सेलिब्रिटी एंड टीवी पे नचाना. ये ब्रांडिंग नहीं होती है. वन पार्ट ऑफ ब्रांडिंग टू बिल्ड अवेयरनेस, बट ये ब्रांडिंग तो है ही नहीं. आई थिंक ब्रांडिंग इज 2 things. One is the expectation a consumer has from your brand, which is consistency. So branding is consistency.
Okay.
Again, same as Shiv Sagar, consistently great pav bhaji. I think the second thing is branding then becomes, because of the consistency, building that memory that you become the no-brainer option in the consumer when they think of the product you sell. These are the 2 things which are branding. And then all of these other things like branding videos, which they call, and all, and performance and this and that, is like packaging is all part of what goes into that. I don't think that's branding.
Okay.
So when you say what will make you win, it is consistency. We have the same design, fair. I'll consistently make sure that we have the most relevant designs. I'll consistently make sure that those quality of products are good. I'll consistently make sure that we are bettering the fit every day, even though we have single digit return rates in apparel. Compared to the marketplaces, this would be 30%, 40%. We are at 8. We used to be at 6, but now that we've gotten into shirts and jeans and socks,
8% returns.
8%.
That's it.
Because we consistently, if the returns are 8, our new benchmark is 6. We'll be like, what do you not like? Oh, you do think the collar's too big, or you think the button is too tight? What is it? Fine, let us try and micro this, and then we'll do a full R&D about how we can make it better. Then we'll do some fit trials, and we'll see if that's actually a better option for most people, and we change it. So we keep tweaking it. Before, the tweaks used to be big. Now obviously it's fine tuning. We actually do that. So any new product we launch, I think the return started where the industry is 20%, 25%. Then we get it down to 6-7.
Wow. That's incredible, because I don't want to name the marketplace, but one of the most leading marketplaces I recently found out have their returns upwards of 30 to 32%.
Yeah, most apparel companies have their returns upwards of 30 to 32%.
And I was shocked. I was like, bhai, har 100 चीजें बेचने से 30 चीजें वापस आ जाती है. That's
But you know, if you just think about it, you'll only do that, right? Like, let's say you buy 10 things on any marketplace, you'll return 3. Easy.
I don't. I'm like a good customer, but because I'm in the same D2C space, so I understand the pain of returns. That's why I don't return.
Almost like demolish your unit economics.
Exactly. It's more expensive to get a product than ask them to destroy sometimes. They're like, bhai, tum rakh lo, khatam kar do, main wapas nahi laya.
Yeah. No, so we do it. Like we again, you let, and that's, I think, how we win. We consistently put all our energy into this. And there are teams now dedicated to it.
Okay, the second question on brand building and consistency was, every once in a while there's a brand like Minimalist which comes. Do you know about it?
Yeah.
The Minimalist, right? They come and they thrash the market.
Yeah.
And they build the trust and they build a brand.
Yeah.
But all of it happens in like 8 months, 7 months, 9 months.
No, it doesn't.
Right? No, they said, like he said, they went from 0 to 100 crores in 8 months.
Yeah.
Like, and their ROAS were around 4 to 6.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're spending
great PMF. I love their PMF. They have great PMF. I think they saw a winning formula, I think, from the US, brought it here, and they smashed it with it. Out there, I feel like what Nykaa has done is the ability, and a lot of marketplaces, the ability to reach that 100 crore mark in beauty personal care has just become there because of all these marketplaces that are there. And the Minimalist also had a good product, super retention. So here's the thing. What if they didn't have the retention? What if they didn't have the great product? Then it would take a little longer, because then they have to go back to the drawing board and redo it So I like to say, at least for myself, that I seem like a genius because some of the decisions have paid off. And then you just seem like you've killed it. What I feel is, if you haven't got the right PMF, then it takes longer. But if you did bet the farm on your first product, then you're done. So, which is why I'm always a cautious guy. I don't like to bet for ruin. I like to make sure that a mistake can be forgiven.
So
let's take the Minimalist, right? They probably have, if for a successful company, and they're profitable as well, they have good repeat rates.
Yeah,
I'm 100% sure.
100%.
And every time I invest in D2C brands, and every time someone tells me my CAC is 500, 700, and the product value say 1,000, my next question is, that means you must have great repeat rates if you're paying so much for CAC. And then they are like, no, we don't. We are working on it. And I don't understand that. Okay, you are acquiring a customer who's not going to buy second, third, fourth time. Why? To grow. For what? It makes no sense to me. I think the moment, don't even bother acquiring. Fix the reason why a customer is not repeating. Absolutely. That your product isn't good enough, or the pricing isn't good enough, or you gave them a 100 rupee discount, which now they feel the value of the product is not without the discount. Whatever the reason is, fix it. Make sure that a customer wants to buy a product for the price you want to sell it at. As soon as you do that, go hard. I think Minimalist had found that early on, then they went hard. So the 8-month journey was just possible.
So with you, let's say Minimalist, till every month I need to use the serum or wo khatam ho jayega. The retention would be, if I apply something on my skin and it works, it's going to be very long time, right? In fact, if I apply something which doesn't even work, but give me like a very instant good feel, I'll still buy it again. So if the feel they've cracked, I'm sure they've cracked the formulas as well. That's why they're working. And I personally like Minimalist, by the way.
Awesome.
So it's a great product. So they've cracked everything. But even I'm saying in the worst case, if they wouldn't have cracked something and they would have just made me feel good because I apply something at the night and I feel good, I'll still buy it.
No, that's cracking it. That's cracking it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's done. But with your product, the buying happens once in 6 months.
Yeah.
How do you figure out the retention?
You wait 12 months. So I love good question. I'll tell you what we have a customer journey. It's a little different. So people come for the Harry Potter or Batman or whatever. They stay for the quality and fit. So first we used to have 100% all merchandise, like Batman, Superman, IPL or whatever. Now it's 50%. The other 50% is like the solid t-shirt or the shirt I'm wearing or something like that. So that's where the trust comes in. They're like, yeah, I love the brand, but I'm not going to buy a 10th Batman t-shirt. So now I'll buy, do you have solids? Yeah, we do. Take one. Do you have any shirts? Yeah. And then that's how you continue getting the retention.
So last 2-3 questions. One of them is, what are the next set of opportunities that you see in India? Which industry? पहले तो ये बताओ, fashion में do you think there are opportunities still? It's cluttered.
It's cluttered because there are opportunities. If it's not cluttered, means people can't see an opportunity in it. So I really like cluttered businesses are not necessarily bad businesses. It just means like large market with large ability to enter and do well.
What's the big opportunity for new fashion entrepreneurs to enter? Where should they start? What kind of products, what kind of category or clothing or in lifestyle, what do you feel? सबसे अच्छी opportunity क्या है? What is really hot? Do you think cords? I was reading.
Cords.
Cords are like really hot in India recently. There was one company, I forgot the name. Same color sweatshirt, same color joggers. They were doing really, really good. I think they went up to, in just 1 year, they went from 0 to 30-40 crores and just selling cords.
And now?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So the issue with the question is, I think the question is wrong. Is that you're building something which will last the trend. So I think there are tons of trends in the apparel industry. Cord sets would be one, summer shorts would be one. Like now everyone's like loud, which is what I'm seeing. Really unlike both of us, I can see.
Yeah.
So that's the trend, right? Like more pockets, the better. Like we have like now some cargos coming up with 4 pockets, which is cool, apparently. But we'll outlast that trend as well. Because so you don't build a brand on a trend. Otherwise, you are a trend, not a brand.
So what I meant by that was, it's good to start with a trend because it gives you instant cash flow.
Yeah.
And then you can use that money to diverse into multiple things.
Perfect. I think for us that time, printed t-shirts was definitely the trend.
Yeah, right. So what do you start with? Like, what do you feel currently?
I think streetwear is definitely in. Like, it'll be in for the next few. There was a streetwear convention, all things street.
Yeah.
And oh my God, the response there was amazing. And then these new brands are charging 4,000, 5,000 for a t-shirt, and people are going crazy buying it. I met some of the founders and I think their intent is so pure. Which
one was the cool brand which you found out?
I don't want to take names. The other ones will feel bad.
Okay, take one. I'll take one. You'll take one. By the way, all kudos to really cool guy Abhishek, the one who pulled it up. The all things you can treat Gandhi, right? He just did an incredible job. I think Vedant Lamba from Main Street and Abhishek Gandhi for All Things You Can Street, All Things You Street. Like what's the?
All Things Street.
All Things Street, right? Both of these guys, the amount of coolness they are bringing in the system and making like small little culture of street in India mainstream. I think these two guys are doing really good job. So just want to shout it out.
Yeah, man, they're doing super. There's so many brands I don't want to name any. I'll be very frank. Because I'm in the industry that I am, I don't think I should name. I like the Souled Store.
Okay, Souled Store definitely.
What about you?
I love Souled Store.
I know. What other street brands are you like?
More than street brand, I want to talk about one brand that I'm wearing recently. It's very small. I don't know if they do any large numbers. This random one guy DM me on Instagram. The brand name is Senses. SENSES. Very small. I think they're never in inventory. They never get enough stuff done. But I love the fit of their clothes. It's just, I have never worn something as good quality as this.
Yeah.
Like it's their crew neck t-shirts and their polo t-shirt. These are the only two t-shirts they have.
Yeah.
I've texted this guy and be like, he sent me first for free. He's like, just wear it. If you like it, give it a shout out.
Yeah.
And I was very adamant. I was like, I don't want it. I don't want another shout out and stuff because this is not what I do. If I like it, I'll anyway pay it and do it. But he was very adamant and he gave it. The moment I wore it, I instantly uploaded a picture and be like, guys, I love this. Okay. I genuinely love it. And then I texted him. I was like, hey, I would want to buy all the colors you have. And then he ran out of inventory. He's like, they don't have colors. So really like this brand. Like check it out. It's senses.india.
I will check it out. So you asked that question in the beginning. If we both had a brand, how would one win and the other not? This is a winning brand strategy, right? The product is so good, you just love it. You're going to go back for it.
Yeah.
And that consistency, hopefully he keeps across his other products. He wins.
True.
One thing that we really love doing, and I know this is where my personal life gets into the business. We've always done collabs to help raise money for animals throughout time. And now we've decently profitable quite a lot. We started adopting animal shelters.
Wow.
So we have like a canine shelter or a feline shelter. So we're, to help animals. I really love this because, and my CFO was like, Vedang, this is a really big cost. I think we should run it by the board. And I was like, yeah, fine. So one monthly update, which is like a full page. Ek last line tha, hey, by the way, we adopted these two shelters. And it's not actually charity. It's branding cost. Because consumers will love the kind of business that they're supporting. And then I went and told the marketing guy, you have to treat this like a branding cost. Make sure that you do really well with this because you owe it to the animals that if this is justified, we can take more shelters.
Nice.
So, there's always this thing, even my nanny used to work for women's rights and gave a full life there, and now my mom's going to do it. And I have this thing that, one day I want to do it. And I think everyone has that ache, then I'll give back. But the mistake, at least for myself internally, I kept feeling is like, that one day never comes.
True.
You may do small things. You'll see something on the internet and you may give, but I want to make something super permanent. Today, the best thing I can do is probably Economic Might. Maybe one day my time as well. But at least I'm going to start. And that's the collab that I am most excited about.
Interesting. I give you all the luck for this collab that you want to build, and it'll turn out to be really good. One last question I ask everybody, but I was not able to ask you in the middle of the thing.
Yeah.
Tell me one brand's case study or one brand's story that you absolutely love.
Nike.
Tell me, what do you love about it? What do you feel ki unhone kab kya kiya that turned around their life?
So, I love the Nike story for many reasons.
Okay. Give me the story that you love. One of the most specific anecdote or one of the most specific story from Nike's journey. And then why do you love it? Give me both the things.
I think I'll have to say a few things because it won't encapsulate everything. Okay. But the number one, since you ask, is I love about Nike's journey how a lot of the first people and the people Phil Knight encountered were very important in shaping Nike. So it just shows that the right people are so important. And we are also growing our offline footprint. And I got on a call with the Urban Company guy and I was like, how do you make everyone so uniform across? How's the experience so uniform across? Because one day we'll have so many stores. And he's like, it's not the training. You may think it's the training, but actually what we've optimized is the people. At whatever level in your company, just the right people make the biggest difference. Whether it is housekeeping, whether it's a designer, whether it's a CFO, whoever. So all of these people were so pivotal initially, and that's amazing. And what I like about the story is it has all the stories of entrepreneurship, right people being relevant. There were times Nike wasn't relevant and they were losing. Making sure that it's always an on game. Phil Knight took some time off after IPO and he had to come back harder. So, that has everything I love about entrepreneurship. Thinking consumer first, and they made the mistakes. The first the first shoe they made without Onitsuka was a disaster. Because it didn't do well in cold weather. But all of these stories are exactly what an entrepreneur goes through. There are many near-death experiences. You always have to be on. You have to think consumer first. You have to be building for the bigger vision while looking at the smaller stuff. And that is a very hard switch to turn on and off. Like imagine you are going to an investor pitching saying, I want 100 crores. Then you have to go back to office and someone's asking you, should this be on a blue or a green t-shirt? And you have to, actually what people don't realize is the second decision is more important than the first. Yeah. The second will get the first doesn't get the second. So I love the Nike story for that. And then today, what Nike is, right? Nike took bets where they should have, like on Jordan. Nobody would ever sign such a big deal. They were the first people to do it. You know, that's true creativity in its own way. People think creativity is only like what colors you use, but real creativity in the business world are these structures that you have taken these calculated decisions that are going to just give exponential returns.
So I remember a conversation of one of the interviews of Phil Knight, where Phil Knight talks about when he wanted to build a sports division. They were number one in Nike running shoes and they were doing great, right? And they wanted to enter basketball, they wanted to enter other sports everywhere. So the interviewer asks that Converse at that time was number one
for basketball.
Adidas was again in the race. These guys were doing some of the other thing. They all had experts in making basketball shoes, in sport shoes. And Nike didn't have any expert to make basketball shoes. So the Phil Knight gets asked, like, why don't you have an expert in that? He said, I have an expert of the game. Shoe to I'll make.
Absolutely.
I want somebody who can scout the right person who can wear my shoe, not the right shoe. Because we are in the talent spotting business, not in shoe making business.
Yeah.
If I spot the right talent, which is Michael Jordan, automatically I will make sure that I give him the best shoe. And then when my right talent wears the shoe becomes right. The shoe doesn't have to be right.
Yeah.
And that's why if you look at Jordans, they're not actually basketball shoes. They're just right shoes for right show off, for right amount of signaling, for right amount of coolness factor in basketball. You can't play real basketball while wearing.
No, back then though,
shoes, right?
Back then it was. But I completely get your point, right? Getting Jordan would force them to make a shoe worthy of Jordan.
Like it was, to me, that was so exciting that his approach to look at business was so different.
Yeah.
His approach to look at business was like, I'm in a talent business. How do I spot the right talent?
Yeah.
शू तो मैं बना ही लूंगा भाई, मुझे शू का एक्सपर्ट नहीं चाहिए.
Love it. The best, I think biggest takeaway is how many times Phil Knight was wrong.
Yeah.
And that's also super, right? How many times he was wrong, but not being hung up on it. So that's why it's a very complete story of.
There's this German entrepreneur. I forgot his name. The book is in German, right? And they have an English translation. While I was in Berlin, I saw that. So there's some German billionaire. He wrote a book, All the Things I Did Wrong. So read this. You might make something right out of my wrongs.
Yeah.
I love it. I was like, every entrepreneur should write this. Like, these are the 50 ideas where I failed.
Yeah.
And because I failed in this 50 ideas, the 51st I was successful. You take these 50, you might turn something around.
I want to say something and I don't know how you edit it, but probably put it at the last. Everything I've spoken, okay, is my story. If I had to write a book, which is full of advice, it would be a one-line book, which is to say, the amount of advice I've been given on the way with 100% conviction, which was 100% untrue, is so much. So everyone has a point of view because they have different circumstances.
Yeah.
And probably at the same Excel sheet, but the number of variables in life are just so many that someone else's advice may not work for you. Probably won't. Otherwise, sab log Michael Jordan ban jate.
True.
He'll write a book, this is how you play basketball. Stupid, do it. But you can't, right? Because there are just so many more variables that won't work for you. So, sabka suno, par apna karo.
Yeah, that's true. I used to say this since very long time. Probably जब मैं खुद ही बच्चा था लेकिन तब भी मैं यही बोलता था आई वांट टू कीप दैट वन एडवाइस, आई ऑलवेज कीप इट फॉर माई सेल्फ. सो एवरी टाइम आई यूज्ड टू गिव अ स्पीच, पीपल would ask me, what's one advice you would give it to me? I was like, the best advice is stop seeking for advices. Because the more advices you seek, the dumber you get and the more confused you get. Start seeking for problem statements. Like, I should not come to you and be like, hey, give me the best advice for entrepreneurship. I should come to you and be like, hey, you know what? मैंने मेरी t-shirt company start करी. I started a t-shirt company with 50,000 rupees. Now I'm burning 30,000 a month, 20,000 month I'm making back. I'm not able to take this 20,000 to 2 lakh. What can I do at this pace with 5 t-shirts and 5 designs I have? So then you can help me because it's a problem statement you yourself have gone through.
Even better than that, I would say one step further is if I would ask someone for advice, the main thing I'm taking away is their thought process. Because even though what worked for that person may not be the same because market scenario is different, marketing is different, brand is different, whatever, product is different. But at least the way that person approached the problem is interesting to learn from.
Nice. I'm taking this away. How would you deal with this problem in today's world if you were me? And is that the thought process makes more sense? Nice. Thanks a lot, brother. It was pleasure having you. I know that I took your time extra.
No, I was very happy to be here, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It was fun having conversation with you. Thank you so much for watching this episode till the end. हमें बताओ कि और कौन से ऐसे लीडर्स हैं जिनको आप देखना चाहते हो हमारे एपिसोड पे, कौन सी ऐसी स्टोरीज़ हैं, कौन से ऐसे लोग हैं जो आपको लगता है बहुत इंसाइटफुल हैं लेकिन उनसे ज़्यादा बातें नहीं हुई है, उनसे ज़्यादा अच्छे क्वेश्चंस नहीं पूछे गए. तो आप हमें बताओ कि वो कौन से ऐसे लोग हैं, हमें गेस्ट के सजेशंस दो, हम उन्हें लेके आएंगे. और आप हमें क्वेश्चंस बताओ कि क्या आप क्वेश्चन चाहते हो उनसे पूछना, हम उनसे वो पूछेंगे ताकि आपको एक बेहतर एपिसोड मिले, हर किसी को उनसे सीखने को मिले और हम सब साथ में इस कंट्री को ग्रो करें. क्योंकि एक कॉन्वर्जेसन इनफ है किसी की लाइफ चेंज करने के लिए. Until the next episode, keep figuring out, and before you log out, you know that you have to share this with at least one person जिसकी लाइफ में एक पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट आएगा.